automated translation of the deep dive made with artificial intelligence. Hello, my name is Federico Dominioni. I am the CTO of K2BTools. K2BTools is a tool that is installed on top of GeneXus, whose objective is to increase productivity in GeneXus developments. How does K2BTools do this? Through the automation of GeneXus code generation, generating applications of excellent quality, and with a professional user interface. What we are going to see in this talk is how K2BTools is going to help you to accelerate the development of GeneXus applications. So, what better than to show you all this, develop here a live application for you to see the benefits of using K2BTools in the development of GeneXus applications. For this, what we are going to do is to develop an educational application. In this particular instance, we have a data model that focuses on the enrollment of students in specific courses. These courses are taught by designated teachers and cover distinct subjects. Additionally, within these courses, students undergo exams and achieve particular results. This accurately represents the reality we aim to depict. We already have this modeled in GeneXus transactions, so let's see how K2BTools can help us do this. For that, what we are going to do is we are going to create the backend of our application. So we go to the GeneXus development IDE. Though we already have the student transaction, and what we are going to do is apply the entity services pattern to the student transaction. To simplify the process, we can create the work with and the entity manager using a template selector, where we are going to select which is the best template that adapts to what we want to model. In this case, in students, we are going to see that we are going to be able to choose which template we want to use, and we are going to see a preview in real time where it is going to show how that entity is going to look like when the pattern is applied to it. In this case, we want to choose a work with multiple views for the students, and then we are going to model how we want to make the entity manager. The entity manager shows the students' information, and in tabs, by default, the related information. Let's change that to show it using cards, hierarchizing the student view and showing the related information in cards. Once we have selected our templates, we simply need to click on Finish, and our instance will be generated automatically. This process takes place after our templates have been chosen. Then, what we are going to do is to save the transaction, the pattern will be applied, and the necessary objects will be generated. Here we are going to do Build, and we are going to see what was automatically generated. We will see that a professional design has already been generated, allowing customization by the user of our application. For instance, it's possible to adjust the color palette at runtime, seamlessly switching from light to dark mode. This flexibility provides users with a more personalized experience, catering to different preferences or environments. Here we already have many functionalities that are already available just by applying the pattern. It's important to note that the developer didn't need to write any code to make this happen. The developer simply had to select a template. Also, K2BTools generates a lot of functionality that, in a way, doesn't cost the developer anything to do. So, also in that sense, when we talk about generating applications of excellent quality, it has to do with the possibility that the applications have a lot of extended functionalities that are not only of a high quality, but also of a very high quality. If the developer had to do it by hand, he would not have done it. Since it is free with K2BTools, it requires no further development effort to incorporate these functionalities. They are already inside K2BTools. So we have many features available on grids, such as column selection and sorting. Additionally, we can automatically generate reports in PDF and Excel formats. These reports are generated automatically. The different possibilities of the views when we are choosing the template. The grid view is an interesting way to compare information, but the card view is also beneficial for users as it allows them to easily recognize and identify students with minimal cognitive effort, especially when there is an image that visually organizes the information being displayed. The two views have synchronization with the filters, so what I filter in one view is reflected in the other view as well. And we achieve this by simply choosing a template and utilizing a pattern. Then we also have the entity manager interfaces. To access it, what we do is select a student here, and when we select a student, what ends up happening is that we access the entity manager view. We have the opportunity to observe the overall details of our students. This includes both general information and specific details presented in an organized card format focused on the respective student. and the possibility also to operate on the students, the operations of registrations, cancellations, and modifications. And what we are going to do next is, on all the entities that we have in our application, we are going to apply this pattern in order to generate all the necessary interfaces in our backend. So that's how we generate the student interfaces, and then what we're going to do is apply this pattern to all the rest of the transactions to generate all the backend interfaces and to be able to choose those templates that are more appropriate for the entity that we are going to be using. Once we have selected the backend, we observe the generation of a design. However, it is crucial to note that the developer can fully customize the design according to their preferences. We provide numerous design templates for customizing app development, allowing developers to adapt the look and functionality to meet specific requirements, whether for their own needs or to better suit end users' preferences, creating more personalized experiences. These designs can be chosen through the design system configuration, and once they have chosen the design template they want to use, all this can also be customized. The master page can be customized, all graphically, without the developer having to add lines of GeneXus code. We are going to continue working on this application, and what we are going to do now is to add an analysis view. What we want, for example, on the courses, is to analyze the grades our students are achieving in their courses. Just as I had a view of student cards, I can switch to working with courses and access an analysis view for courses. What insights am I interested in? For instance, I want to know the average grade students achieved by exam type, course, and subject. This helps identify, for example, if certain subjects are more challenging than others. Such analysis allows for better understanding of course performance and potential areas needing support. You can also filter by teacher to identify if any are grading more leniently or conversely setting higher challenges for students. I can also view the percentage of passing grades across each subject. All of this is available within the analysis view with flexible filtering options. For instance, I can filter by subject to conduct a more focused and rigorous analysis on specific areas of interest. Additionally, you can adjust the view to specify which records are included in the analysis, enabling access to more detailed information. You can also select multiple teachers to view the same data filtered by specific educators, allowing for a focused comparison. For this filtering thing, we use controls offered by K2BTools to allow, for example, multiple combos where we can display images, but we offer a wide variety of controls made with K2BTools to enhance the applications you develop. How do we do this? It's quite simple actually. All we have to do is introduce a new business analysis view instance and then include queries into it. Adding these elements will facilitate the analysis process. You must define the queries, specifying only the indicators and dimensions. Everything else, including the updating of the query and synchronization of filters and parameters, will be handled by K2BTools. This process is very straightforward. Let's continue working on this application, and what we are going to do now is to add a calendar view. How do we add a calendar view? Well, what we want to do first is that when we select a course and this course runs on a certain schedule. So for that, for the schedules, I can have a calendar view where I can see all the information in a calendar and also have the possibility of entering new appointments in that calendar. That is, new dates for the course that already gives me by default the date and time that I selected. I choose where it is going to be and the possibility also to make that appointment recurring so that it appears in all the dates of the calendar. How do we achieve this using K2BTools? Well, what we have to do is to add a calendar node inside the application, and the only thing we have to configure in that calendar node is what is the identifier, what we are going to use, what is the description that is going to appear in the calendar element, and what is the date from and the date to, and nothing else. With that, the whole interface is automatically generated. Let's continue working on this. We are going to add a Kanban view. Do you know what a Kanban is? If someone has used Trello, maybe they know it. If not, we show it here. For example, for final exams, I would like to have a view of how students are categorized in the exam that they took in a certain subject. So we can have this view. We can see which performed excellently, which did well, which barely passed, and those that failed. In this view, I can even access detailed information for each record displayed, or for example, when a student enrolls in a course, he goes through a pipeline where first his enrollment is under review, then it goes to a waiting list, and then depending on certain conditions that the student fulfills, it can be rejected or confirmed. Then, directly here, an administrator sees the students enrolled in the course and can operate on this list to see the student, if she see the student, if he meets the requirements, and pass him to the waiting list or pass him to the list of confirmed or rejected students in the course. And this is done with the Kanban functionality of K2BTools. And how is this done in K2BTools? Recall that when you drag an item, you are also updating the status of that item in the database. In this case, the status of the student's course record. So all we have to do is simply add a Kanban node. Then we have to specify what is the ID that we are going to display, the description. If we are going to display an image, what is the attribute that is part of the image. And then, if I have a numbered domain, I simply select which is the numbered domain and the Kanban columns according to those listed domains. If not, the other option I can have is to make it conditional, establish a condition by which it falls in a certain column, or define it in a data provider, in a procedure, and that it is in charge of managing all those lists and assembling them. Well, what other things are we going to add to it? Every application nowadays needs to have its notifications and collaboration component. How do we do that? What we are going to do is, in the exam, let's imagine that once the professor finishes correcting the students' exams, he publishes them, and we want all the students who took the exam to receive a notification that the results of the exam are in. So what we do is to publish the results. When the teacher publishes the exam results, an automatic notification is sent to the student, informing them that the score for the Western Music exam is now available for review. The student can log in, view their grade, and interact with the teacher through a collaborative chat feature. This allows the student not only to ask questions, but also to seek clarification or share feedback. For instance, if the student tags the teacher in a message expressing concern, perhaps regarding their satisfaction with a specific score, the teacher receives a targeted notification. This notification includes details about the particular exam, ensuring clear, relevant communication. Additionally, the teacher can respond directly within the platform, fostering a more streamlined and focused dialogue between student and teacher. The entire conversation is recorded, and perhaps it was a conversation that was previously happened by other means. Well, it is fortunate that everything is contained within the application, as it provides complete context for understanding what transpires in conversation. How is this done in K2BTools? Well, very simple. All you have to do is to install the module of notifications and collaboration. Once the setup is complete, the users need to determine the specific entities where the collaborative part will be placed. They also need to designate the procedure responsible for publishing the results and call an API to notify the desired users about the notifications, and that's it. Well, let's talk about services. Applications today, most of the applications nowadays, need to either consume services or also expose services. Nothing works in isolation anymore. So what is our next step in this application? It seems that the Bedelia's centralized system requires us to publish all the test results of the students using this application. Hence, our main focus will be on developing the functionality for this task. To achieve that, we will be utilizing a new tool called the Service Builder. This product will enable us to meet the requirements imposed by Bedelia's. Then we are going to stop at the exam grade transaction, and what we are going to do is run a wizard that allows us to initialize a service definition object. Now let's take a look at this. When the wizard comes up, I can choose which services I want to generate, and once I confirm, a service definition object will be generated. This object has two parts. It has a part with a structure and a part with the services to be exposed. I am interested in exposing the results of the exams that were published by the teacher. Then I am going to put here a condition that only exposes me the results where the exam result published is in true. And well, here I can choose different services of get, by, even to services of insert, update, and delete. Here I see the services that I want to generate, and once everything is ready, I am going to make a build of the service definition. And once I select this option, it will generate structures and procedures that I could even use inside the KB. If I have a very modular KB separated in modules, I could make the access to those modules through those services. But in this case, what interests me is that the exam information is available through a REST service. So what I am going to do is I am going to say that these services expose them through an API object Y. Then I am going to make a build of the service definition. So this process will generate a GeneXus API object. This API object can also be modified and maintained by both the developer and the service builder, as well as by the service builder, and automatically there, using service builder, I get the service that it asks for. That's one thing. Now let's also see how K2BTools can help them consume those services. So let's suppose that in the Bedelias application, they were lucky enough to be using GeneXus and K2BTools as well. So here I am in another KB. Let's go to this other KB where I am going to create a new web panel. I'm going to save the current progress, and next I will incorporate a grid based on a specific procedure tailored for my needs. To achieve this, I'll select an imported procedure through the GeneXus Object Import API, which will allow me to access an external service seamlessly. After choosing the appropriate procedure, I'll opt to display the data in a grid format for better visualization. The subsequent step involves saving the configuration and initiating a build action. Once I perform the build, the system will automatically generate the required panel, and impressively, I won't need to write a single line of code myself. All of this is efficiently handled by K2B. In addition to this functionality, we are placing significant emphasis on the K2BTools initiative, which aims to provide a clear separation between the presentation and service layers within your application architecture. This structure is crucial as it allows for straightforward data consumption through procedures, whether I am loading a specific type of control or interacting with any other data component. By enabling these functionalities, we ensure that the presentation layer can evolve independently from the other layers of the application. This independence is vital for maintaining flexibility and adaptability in a rapidly changing technological landscape while respecting the established signatures of the services utilized. It also allows for seamless integration with new features and tools as they become available, ensuring that the application remains robust and future-proof. And now let's see how we can do to integrate our application. We want to add artificial intelligence. So what we are going to want to do is to add an assistant to it to help us solve certain issues that we have in our application. For example, here I would like to use this assistant to tell me, for example, to give me some analysis information about the courses. Then I write to the chat and it will automatically send me back this information. This is connected to the platform GeneXus Enterprise AI, which is now called Globant Enterprise AI. So it uses the LLMs, and I even, standing here, it already gave me back the information that I was asking for. I can keep asking my assistant if I can focus on geography and mathematics. So this is going to come to the assistant, and the assistant is going to give me back the information that I'm looking for, which is all of this same stuff, but filtered by the subjects that I'm weighing. And this is available to any K2BTools user so that they can integrate artificial intelligence into their applications. I'm going to show you another example, which is a K2B-RP example. K2B-RP is a world-class RP. Here, what we are doing is using our assistant to ask for 4,000 pesos for a trip to Colonia. Then when I select in the wizard, I will automatically go to a fund request interface with the information already preloaded, where I can alter, modify that information, or if it is all right, I can confirm it. It is important to note that it is a human being who ends up confirming that the information returned by the wizard is correct. The interesting thing about this case of K2B-RP is that the RP is functionally very rich. It has more than 3,200 interfaces, and sometimes for a user who is just starting to use that application, it can be very challenging to know which interface to go to in order to solve their questions. So there the wizard is fundamental, and it is also a test case that the integration of K2BTools with artificial intelligence works in any type of KB, whether it is small or gigantic, as in the case of K2BRP. So we saw how to develop an application. We developed the backend very quickly. We added components that greatly improved the user interface. We added notifications and collaboration. We saw and generated services. We integrated it with artificial intelligence, and this in the time we had for the talk. In other words, we really did magic. This is a sample of how K2BTools helps them to accelerate GeneXus developments. Almost all of what we saw is from the K2BTools web product. Also in the service generation part is part of the service builder product, which is a standalone product of KBTools that can be independent to K2BTools, which can be used without K2BTools web, and another feature of the service builder that we have used it in different consulting projects, and we have seen that those who need to expose services achieve savings of up to 90% of development time. So the service builder product is also very interesting, but we also have other products like K2BTools Mobile to automate the generation of mobile applications in GeneXus, K2B Audit to have a trace of the activities of our users and all the adjustments, registrations, deletions, and modifications that users make on the databases. And also another product we have, Call You, which is in charge of incorporating video calling in any GeneXus application. But not everything is about having a good product. It is also good to have a great team behind and also good resources, good documentation. And that is also what is part of K2BTools. From the moment you take and start using the tool, we accompany you so that you can achieve your goals through different training that you can do either offline, because everything is available for you to learn K2BTools without even contacting us, or have the official K2BTools courses, or let's say all the documentation that is really very complete. But we also continue to accompany you through our support channels. You can talk to K2BTools users and see, because it is something that they tell us daily, that we have an excellent support service with very good response times. And well, once they become more expert users of K2BTools, they were able to start, they are already seeing how they can complete their goals. We also release several versions of K2BTools every year, and those versions have new features that are new things to learn. So, year after year, we try to do several release webinars where we present the new features. We help you to learn how to use these new features and benefit even more from this product. And also, we are always listening to you, either through the official channels or sometimes also recurrently per year. We do what is a K2BTools space, where we sit only with the users of our tool and listen to your needs, because at the end of the day, this product is the sum of all the needs of all of you. So what I invite you to do is to go to K2BTools.com, download the tool and try it out. We are at your service for anything you need, and thank you very much.